For nearly 2 million years, they walked the earth. That's an almost unimaginable span of time. Think about it. Modern humans, Homo sapiens, have only been around for about 300,000 years. Our entire recorded history, from the first cities to the internet, is just a tiny sliver of that. This ancient human species, Homo erectus, survived ice ages, supervolcanoes, and countless environmental shifts. They were the first to truly master fire, the first to hunt in organized groups, and the first to venture out of Africa, spreading across Asia and Europe. They were pioneers, innovators, and above all, survivors. And then, after a reign that lasted longer than any other human species, they vanished. How could a species so incredibly successful, so resilient, just disappear? What finally pushed them over the brink after nearly 2 million years of endurance? This is one of the greatest mysteries in the story of human evolution. It's a story that's not just about them, but also about us. By understanding why they fell, we might just learn a little more about our own fragility and the keys to our own survival. So, let's journey back in time to a world ruled not by us, but by Homo erectus, and uncover the clues to their epic rise and their mysterious fall. First, let's get to know our ancient relatives. Homo erectus, meaning upright man, appeared in the fossil record around 1.9 million years ago. And they were a game changer. Compared to their earlier ancestors, they had larger brains, bodies more similar to our own, and a knack for technology. Their signature invention was the Acheulean hand axe. Now, this might just look like a pointy rock to you and me, but it was the Swiss Army knife of the Stone Age. It was a multi-tool used for everything from butchering animals to digging for roots to shaping wood. For over 1 million years, this tool barely changed, a testament to its perfect design and the stability of their culture. Their larger brains needed more fuel, which drove them to become more effective hunters and gatherers. They weren't just scavenging leftovers, they were actively hunting large game. This required cooperation, planning, and communication, all hallmarks of a more complex social structure. And perhaps their most significant achievement was the control of fire. Fire provided warmth, protection from predators, a way to cook food which made it easier to digest and unlocked more nutrients, and a social focal point. Imagine a group of Homo erectus huddled around a crackling fire under a prehistoric night sky. It was in these moments that bonds were forged and culture was born. Their adaptability was legendary. They were the first hominins to leave the cradle of Africa. Fossils of Homo erectus have been found as far afield as Spain, Georgia, Indonesia, and China. They conquered new lands, faced unfamiliar climates, and adapted to entirely new ecosystems. They were the ultimate survivors. For context, they lived through multiple glacial cycles, periods where vast ice sheets covered much of the globe, dramatically altering landscapes and weather patterns. They weathered these storms, adapting their hunting strategies and migration routes. So, if they were so tough, so clever, so widespread, what went wrong? The answer isn't simple, and it likely involves a combination of factors that created a perfect storm. One of the leading theories points to climate change. Now, Homo erectus had survived climate change before, many times. But the changes that occurred towards the end of their reign might have been different. The world was becoming more volatile. Instead of the slow, predictable cycles of ice ages they were used to, the climate began to fluctuate more wildly and rapidly. Forests may have turned into grasslands and grasslands into deserts faster than they could adapt. Their traditional food sources, the large mammals they were so skilled at hunting, might have dwindled or moved away. Their old strategies, the ones that had worked for 1 million years, may have suddenly become obsolete. While they were adaptable, perhaps there was a limit. The environment might have simply changed too much, too fast. Imagine you've spent 1 million years perfecting the art of hunting mammoths in a cold steppe environment. Suddenly, over a few thousand years, the climate warms, the steppes turn into dense forest, and the mammoths disappear. Your trusty hand axe isn't as effective against the smaller, quicker animals of the forest. The skills passed down for generations are no longer enough. This is a simplified scenario, but it captures the essence of the challenge they faced. Some research suggests that later populations of Homo erectus became a bit too comfortable. They stuck to their old tools and familiar habitats, showing less innovation than other emerging human species. They were masters of a world that was vanishing from beneath their feet. This leads us to another major suspect in their disappearance: competition. Homo erectus wasn't alone. As time went on, the family tree of humanity got a lot more crowded. Newer, bigger-brained species were appearing on the scene. In Europe and Asia, the Neanderthals emerged. In Africa, our own ancestors, Homo sapiens, came into being. These new kids on the block were different. They developed more sophisticated tools, more complex hunting weapons like spears, and likely had more advanced social networks and symbolic thought. Think of it as an evolutionary arms race. Homo erectus had the classic, reliable hand axe. But Neanderthals and early Homo sapiens were developing a whole new toolkit later. More specialized stone blades, tools made from bone and antler, and projectile weapons that allowed them to hunt from a safer distance. When these different human groups met, they would have been competing for the same resources, the same animals, the same plants, the same caves and water sources. Even a slight advantage for the newcomers could have had a huge impact over thousands of years. Homo sapiens, for example, were incredibly innovative. Our ancestors constantly tweaked and improved their technology, adapted it to local conditions, and created extensive social networks that allowed them to share information and support each other over vast distances. This flexibility might have been the key. While Homo erectus was the sturdy, reliable old model, Homo sapiens was the next generation, all-terrain upgrade, capable of outthinking and outcompeting their older cousins. There's also evidence of interbreeding between different human species, but so far, little trace of Homo erectus DNA has been found in modern humans, suggesting they may have been genetically different or were simply replaced. So we have a changing climate making life harder, and new, savvy competitors moving into the neighborhood. It was a one-two punch. The last known evidence of Homo erectus comes from a site called Gandong on the island of Java, in Indonesia. These fossils were dated to be surprisingly recent, around 110,000 years ago. This suggests that a final, isolated population of Homo erectus held on in the tropical forest of Southeast Asia, long after they had vanished from the rest of the world. What happened to this last group? The evidence points to, you guessed it, environmental change. Around that time, the landscape in Java shifted from open woodland to a dense tropical rainforest. The animals that Homo erectus were used to hunting disappeared, replaced by smaller, more agile forest creatures. It seems that even this last bastion of survivors couldn't make the final leap in adaptation. They were specialists in a world that now demanded generalists. The rainforest closed in, and the long, epic story of Homo erectus finally came to a quiet end. The fate of Homo erectus is a powerful and humbling lesson. They were, by any measure, an evolutionary success story. Their 1.9 million year run is a record that we are unlikely to ever beat. They teach us that even the most successful, most resilient species is not immune to extinction. They show us that the ability to adapt and innovate is crucial for long-term survival. Their story serves as a mirror for our own. We, Homo sapiens, have achieved global dominance in a fraction of the time. We've built civilizations, created art, and walked on the moon. Our technology is advancing at an exponential rate. But, are we more resilient? We face our own unprecedented challenges, most notably a rapidly changing global climate of our own making. The world of Homo erectus changed due to natural cycles. Our world is changing because of our actions. Their story is a stark reminder that no species' survival is guaranteed. Their conservatism, their reliance on old, proven strategies, was ultimately their downfall when the world changed too fast. It makes you wonder, are we being flexible enough? Are we innovating in the right ways to ensure our own long-term future on this planet? The ghosts of our ancient cousins serve as a warning. Their legacy is written in stone tools and fossilized bones, a silent testament to the fact that adaptability is the ultimate currency of survival. Their epic journey ended, but their story is a vital chapter in our own. By understanding why they vanish, we gain a deeper appreciation for the precarious, beautiful, and ongoing journey of humanity. Thanks for joining me on this deep dive into our past. If you found this journey as fascinating as I did, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more stories from the epic history of life on Earth. Let me know in the comments what you think was the biggest factor in their extinction. Until next time, stay curious.